guys, it's Sarah and today's BookList Thursday. This is a video series I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library. And every Thursday we bring you some sort of list or book topic that we feel like talking about for the week. And this week we are talking about summer recommendations. So it is now June. Summer is here, everyone's on break finally, and we are gearing up for summer reading. So these are some books that I have read that I think would be really good summer reads. They have a good feeling for summer, they're quick reads, some of them are juicy, and we are going to talk about those today. So the first one I have is my most recent read, and of the stack. I did read it back in May, but oh my gosh, did I love it, and I think you will love it too, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is an adult contemporary. It just came out last month, and I ate this up, and I couldn't get enough, and I still think about this book, and I still think about these characters, and I want to reread it, like right now. It is one of those books where I know I will reread this probably multiple times. So this is an adult contemporary romance. It is about two authors who end up living next door to each other on a lake, and they are actually kind of rivals. They went to college together. They're both authors, and they write in different genres. So she writes contemporary romance, he writes literary fiction, and they have definitely those preconceived notions about those two genres with each other. And they end up having a conversation one day where they both realize that they are both in writing slumps. They have a lot going on in their personal lives that is kind of causing them to not be able to concentrate on their writing and their deadlines that they have. And they get into a conversation and they decide, what if we challenge each other to write from each other's genres? So he's going to write a contemporary romance, she's going to write a literary fiction, and they're going to see if that can kind of jumpstart their creativity a little bit. Now, in order to complete this, they are going to work together and they are going to help each other do their research. So he's going to take her on some interviews and some things that he's been working on and kind of his process for getting into the writing and what he goes through to write his books. And they're very intense. She is going to get him in the romantic mood. She's going to take him to drive-in movies and like all these little kind of cute date scenarios that can be in these books and some of the scenes that she writes, and give him that experience so he can get inspiration from that. And it is adorable and I love it. And I can't even handle how much I loved this book, you guys. The characters were so good. I loved both of them. I loved their banter back and forth. It was perfection. I loved the tension. The sexual tension that is in this book is palpable. You can feel it. I felt it in the air around me. It drove me nuts. It was insane how descriptive and just how much you feel that. And I loved their communication because they had communication. It wasn't one of those things where they were just pushing each other away and not talking. Like they would get into an argument, and it was, you're not leaving this conversation until I know what's going on. Like, you're not just going to say something and walk away from me. No, that's not happening. And I loved that because that can be a plot point that drives me a little bit nuts. I'm like, would you just talk? You're adults. Like, have a conversation. It's not that hard. So that was in here and I loved that. And I fully believe this is the perfect book. I loved it so much. I talked about that way too long. Okay. My next recommendation is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, another Yellow book. Yellow is very popular right now. So this book is about, a couple who is getting married, and our main characters are the bridesmaid and the best man, the maid of honor and the best man are our main characters here. So her sister, his brother are getting married. Now, our two main characters hate each other, always have, like, they do not get along at all. And they're at the wedding, the reception happens, there's like a seafood buffet, everybody's eating off of it except for our two main characters. And everybody at the wedding reception gets sick, like food poisoning, including the bride and the groom. Now, because of this, they cannot go on their honeymoon. And her sister does not want this honeymoon to go wasted because it was like she won it in a giveaway and stuff. She said, you have to go take it. Like, it's paid for. You have to go. Go in my place. Pretend you're us, and it works because they are twins. The bride and the maid of honor are twins. So go in my place. He's your husband, blah, blah, blah. Go. So they go. They don't want this trip to be wasted. They go with an agreement that they are going to go and then they're going to promptly ignore each other as much as they can. If they are together in public, they do act like they're married or that they're at least having conversations with each other, but they're going to try to do their own things on this honeymoon, right? Naturally, it doesn't quite go that way. It was so good, you guys. So they take this trip to Hawaii and they spend the whole time trying to ignore each other, and it doesn't work out that way. And it was so good. So good. Definitely some miscommunication tropes in here. But most of them were in the past, and like that's why they hated each other, because there was so much miscommunication there, and definitely feelings start growing. So I loved it. This is definitely another one that I would read again. Perfect to take on vacation, especially if you're going to a beach or something. Perfect read for that. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a turn here, and we're going to go with an urban fantasy, and I'm going to recommend the Sookie Stackhouse books by Charlaine Harris. So these are a vampire series, and the reason I would recommend it for summer reading is because number one, they're really quick. Number two, they're so much fun. And number three, it takes place in Louisiana, which is a very warm, humid place, and a lot of it is over the summer. So it's, you really get that atmospheric feeling of being like in kind of a swampy area. The way she describes it, it's very, you can really feel yourself there. So that kind of gave me the summer vibes for this one for sure, but it is fun. It follows our main character, Sookie Stackhouse, who vampires are a thing, and it's known that vampires are a thing. So it kind of comes out that vampires are real. And Sookie is an interesting character because she actually has telepathic powers that she can't control. She can hear everyone's thoughts around her, and it can be very overwhelming for her. However, she ends up meeting this man, and she realizes she can't read his mind. She has no idea what he's thinking. And for her, that is such a escape. It really gives her a break from all that. And she loves being able to have a conversation with someone without knowing what they're thinking ahead of time. And so they start to form a relationship. He's a vampire. So it's fantastic. It's super juicy. And I loved it. I loved that whole series. I read the whole thing and I thought it was great. It's fun. The next one I want to recommend is On the Island. This is by Tracy Garvis Graves, and this one is a little bit more of a heavy topic, but it's still very summery because they are living on an island, and it follows a teacher who is looking she's looking for something. She needs something to change in her life. She's in kind of an unhappy relationship. She's not really happy where she is, and she could use some extra money. So she ends up getting hired by a family who has a son who has just finished some chemotherapy. And because of that, he is behind in his schoolwork, and he wants to be able to graduate on time. So they decide to hire a summer tutor to help get him caught up on his schoolwork so that he can graduate on time. And it ends up being our main character here. And she takes him up on the offer because they are actually going to fly her to their vacation home, I think in the Maldives, I believe. I want to say that's where it is. So hello, island getaway. And I'm going to get paid, I'm in, right? And it helps her get away as well. So she takes them up on this offer. She is on the plane, on a small little private charter plane with the boy, and the plane goes down. And they end up getting washed up onto a completely deserted island. There is nothing on this island. It's completely deserted, and they're stranded. Nobody knows they're missing. It's a whole thing. And they end up stranded there for a long time. So you're following their journey being stranded and how they survive and how long they're there and how their relationship grows. I thought it was good. But I love this book. I flew through it. I couldn't put it down. And it was fantastic. And the last one I'm going to recommend is an oldie but a goodie. Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. So this is one I feel like a lot of people have already read, but if you haven't, I would highly recommend this book. This book is juicy. It is full of twists and turns. I could not put it down. I loved it so much. So this follows three women who are mothers of, I believe, are they preschool or kindergarten, something like that. All their kids are like at the same school, and they form this connection between the three of them. So this starts out with somebody, okay, there's a big fundraising party at this school, and at that party, someone is killed, and you don't know who it is, and you spend it opens up with there is a murder, right, at this event, and there's interviews, and like they're going through some interviews in the very beginning, and throughout the book, it goes back to that because you start reading leading up to it, right? So you're going through the whole book, and then every so often there's some interviews with a new character and kind of leading up to what was happening. And so I liked the back and forth with that. I thought that was interesting, and it gives you a little bit of insight into things. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, and then the rest of the book is, leading up to what actually happened and who was killed, because you spend this whole book not knowing who was killed and you're trying to figure out like what's going on. It was fantastic. It really kept me on the edge of my seat, and I could not read it fast enough, and just so juicy. It was great. Okay, guys, those are some of my top summer recommendations for you to pick up. If you have not picked any of those up yet, those would be the ones that I would recommend for you. So make sure you go check out Lindsay today and see what she's recommending over the summer, and let me know down below what's on your list to read for the summer. Like, have you guys started thinking about what you want to read over the summer? Do you get into a certain reading mood? I know a lot of people go more towards like contemporary romances. I do that too. But let me know what is on your radar, and I will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.